Okay, can I give you some coaching real quick? Can I give you some coaching? Yes. Okay, you ready? This is a super cool trick, everybody. You're about to see me change her. Okay, here we go. Tell you what we're gonna do. All right, so 0 to 10, how nervous are you right now?
I'm thinking like 11.
Okay, great. Can you describe what's happening in your body?
I'm warm. I'm getting sweaty.
Awesome. Are your pits starting to sweat now? Okay, yeah, she's getting warm under here, everybody. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Okay, they're perfect. Just like keep moving them like you're dancing. Okay, great. What else is happening as you're an 11?
I can't stop smiling.
Okay, okay. Terrific. So like the anxiety and the nerves are through the roof.
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, see, she doesn't even know where she is. All right, great. So let's make it worse. Let's go on stage.
Okay.
Everybody give her a round of applause. Okay, here we go. Okay, come here. Okay. All right, 0 to 10. How nervous are you? Did it go higher?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, going higher, everybody. Do you have a neck rash yet? It's getting there. Yeah, I used to get that all the time. Yep. Okay, so I want you to just kind of look out and look at everybody. How many? Yeah. Great, great. Okay, so I'm going to teach you something really cool. You ready? Yeah. Your body doesn't know the difference, everybody, between nervousness and excitement.
Okay.
So tell me, who's your favorite band?
Nirvana.
Okay, so let's say, well, I realize Kurt Cobain isn't here, but if he were, and if they were playing, and you had a front row seat, how excited would you be?
Oh God, I'd be so excited. I'd be crying and.
Yeah, and would you have a neck rash?
I don't know. Actually, I'd be sweating.
You'd be sweating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Would your heart be racing?
Yeah.
Are those all the things that are happening right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so your body, everybody, has the same physiological response to nerves and excitement. Exact same. The only difference between you being able to see Nirvana and you standing here looking out at everybody else and you're the one on stage is what your brain is saying about it. So I'm going to teach you a really cool trick.
Okay.
So the next time you're nervous, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm so excited, and then say whatever you're doing. So start going. I'm so excited to be up here.
I'm so excited to be up here.
Say it again.
I'm so excited to be up here.
Say it again.
I'm so excited to be up here.
Say it again.
I'm excited to be up here.
Yeah, that's right. Let's walk. Say it again.
I'm so excited to be up here. I'm so excited to see everyone here.
Okay. So 0 to 10. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Right? It goes down, right?
Yeah.
So fear builds when you let it sit. It actually lowers the moment you move. And that's a little trick, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm so excited, that has been now researched at Harvard Medical School. And when you use it before an exam, you use it before like any competition, you use it before a speech, you use it before a big pitch, anything. I'm so excited to go in there. I'm so excited I worked so hard. I'm so excited I prepared for this. I'm so excited because regardless of what happens, I'm not going to die, right? And so if you say that, you take control of what's going on in your brain and your body pays attention, and you just look at how different she looks. Literally, she is calm. She's not freaking out. Like you are literally, you're doing the next keynote. I'm out. All right, so how do you feel?
I feel good.
Okay, great. So what was your question?
Okay, so I have big dreams, and sometimes they just feel like they're not quite out of reach, but they are. I have a hard time, like my dream is to be a cougar.
A who?
Cougar.
Wait, a what?
A cougar.
A cougar, okay.
With lots of hot men around me in
Okay.
the beach, like.
Okay.
But that's like later.
Okay.
I got some years.
I have that feels like it's within reach. I don't know, right? Okay.
But so that's just for later. I'm talking about like career-wise.
Yeah.
It just seems like I'm stopping myself, or I'm so busy. I have 2 full-time jobs right now. Like I'm always on the run and on the go. I just don't know what I can do to get myself to do these other things, or what way to go.
Okay, so let's bring this. So now I'm going to coach you, and we're going to make it less kind of up in the sky and ground it in reality. What is the thing that you want to go pursue?
I just want to be the best I can be, like, I want my own business. I want
Great.
to be independent.
Great, so
I
you would
wanna
like your
move
own
out of my
business.
state, yes.
Okay, great. So let's start. So what do you want to do first? We're going to take them one at a time. Do you want to move out of your state first, or do you want to have your own business?
I think I want to move out of state first.
Okay, terrific. So I'm going to teach you guys how to use manifesting and goal setting properly, okay? Because so it's critical, everybody, to have huge dreams. And so I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them what is something that you dream about doing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So for me, I dream about launching a podcast, like a big podcast.
I thought you said rockets. And I was like,
No, step aside, Joe Rogan. Mel Robbins coming through. All right, great. I'm just giving you a second. So even if you didn't have a chance, all right, come on back. All right, even if you didn't have a chance to say it, I know you thought it. And so here's the difference between dreams and goals. Dreams are the beacon, right? It's the lighthouse. Goals are the brick by brick path that walk you toward it. Okay, you need big dreams because they pull you out of the stress of your day-to-day life, they raise your gaze, and they remind you of where you're headed. And if you don't know where you want to head, there's a simple trick that can help you figure it out. Number one, ask yourself, well, what do I not want? And move in the opposite direction. Number two, who am I jealous of? Jealousy is blocked desire. You are jealous of people because you think you can't have the thing that you feel called to have. And so if you are jealous of somebody, it means inside of what they're doing or how they're being, there's something that is meant for you. Like, you can't be jealous of something you don't want. I'm not jealous of anybody that has a penthouse, for example, in Abu Dhabi. I don't want to live there right now. Don't even feel anything when I think about it. It's not meant for me. But when you think about the things that you want, that is a really clear directional signal from your soul that you are not giving yourself permission to move toward those things. So jealousy is just blocked desire. So you know you want to, that's the dream. And so what I want you to do is I want you to tell me what are 2 things that somebody who's preparing to move out of state is doing in their day-to-day life.
Saving money.
Okay. And I guess by the expression on your face, you're not that great at that.
Well, I was, and then I came here.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Guess what? This is going to be money well spent. You invested in yourself, okay? And you know how to save money. And so by being on this stage, you got plucked up here because it's time to get serious about this goal. And so, couple things. Here's how you're going to use science to train your body to help you lay those bricks towards moving. You are not going to envision moving to the new state. You are not going to envision your new apartment. You are going to envision the annoying, pain in the ass stuff you don't want to do in order to have that thing come true. So you will envision yourself not going out with friends on the weekend because you're saving money. You will envision yourself only putting things in the Amazon cart, but not actually purchasing them, right? You will envision yourself opening up bills and noticing, oh, great, like I'm slowly like saving what is one thing that you hate doing that you know you need to do?
Changing my litter box.
Oh, okay, that was not the one I was expecting. Related to money and saving money. Related to money and saving money.
Saving it. I've put whole paychecks in my savings account and it just hurts me a little bit.
Great. I want you to visualize and feel that it hurts. I want you to visualize that next paycheck going into saving and feel the like, and then I want you to say to yourself, I'm really proud of myself for doing that because that's going to help me go. And so for those of you, for example, that want to get in better shape, visualize walking in the rain because that sucks. And what happens when you visualize it and you feel it is you're training your body to expect that, which makes it more likely that you will take that paycheck and put it in savings, or you will keep walking as the rain comes because you've already mentally rehearsed this moment in your mind. This is the way that a team of 9 psychologists are training our Olympic athletes in the United States. This has deep research with it. So stop thinking about the state and start thinking about all the annoying little stuff you got to do right now, and you will be there before you know it. You got it?
Yes.
Good.
Oh my gosh.
Go do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Profound personal and professional change starts with you. That's right. Profound personal and professional change starts with you. And change starts with you because the most effective change starts from the inside out, okay? And so as you think about a behavior change or a thinking pattern change that you want to make or some sort of goal or dream, I want you to take everything that I'm about to teach you and have that example in mind, okay? So that everything that I'm talking about isn't just stuff I'm doing in my life, isn't just stuff that you read about when you look at the research in terms of habits and manifesting, but that you actually walk away with takeaway that is specific to what you want to achieve, okay? So good. So you've dreamed with the lid off. You've written it into the comments. Now, let's start by letting me give you a hack. I'm going to share with you something that I'm working on right now, okay? So one of the things that I want to do is I want to drink less in my life. I have a habit, and I've had a habit for decades, of around 6 o'clock when I start cooking dinner, I typically will pour myself a drink. It's something that I enjoy. It's something that I do as a ritual to kind of end the workday and ease into being, in the more personal part of my life. And as I've gotten older, as I've started to understand more about my health, I thought, I actually don't want to be doing that every night. And so I would make this sort of promise to myself that I wouldn't have a drink, and then 6:30 would roll around, and next thing you know, I am mindlessly walking over to the cabinet where the gin is, and I'm making a gin and tonic. And it's not that I feel that I have a problem. It's that I was having a problem getting a new habit to stick. And so here is one hack that is based in science that is going to help you make any new habit stick. And yes, this is relating to manifesting. But what is this little hack? Well, this little hack is something that taps into what's called your procedural memory, okay? And let me tell you how you use the hack. So with that thing, that behavior change, I saw some of you writing down that you want to make more money, you want to stop procrastinating, you want health goals. Here is a hack that you can use using your procedural memory to make a new habit stick. All you have to do is you need to close your eyes and picture yourself step by step by step, practicing the new behavior or thinking pattern. So in my case, this is what it looks like. I close my eyes and I think, okay, I'm in the kitchen. I turn to my left and I can see the red clock and I visualize it saying 6:30. I feel the pull of the cabinet where the gin is, but I picture myself walking over to where the glasses are instead. And then I take a glass and then I picture myself walking over to the fridge, and then I open up the fridge, and then I reach for the kombucha, and then I pull it out, and I grab a lime, and then I grab a soda water, I shut the fridge, and then I pour a kombucha, I pour a little soda water, I take the peeler, I peel the lime, so I get that neat little lime strip, and I see it twisting, and I see the little kind of, like when you twist citrus, it sort of like sprays that little stuff. And then I drop it into the glass and I see myself picking it up and I see myself sipping my mocktail. I don't even want the gin. This tastes delicious. You want to know something fascinating? Research that has been peer-reviewed shows that simply going through that procedure of the new habit or thinking pattern, step by step by step, by going step by step by step, you are locking in
a new sequence in your procedural memory. And based on research, that one time that you do it makes it way more likely that when 6:30 rolls around, you are not going to drink the gin, you are going to make the mocktail. Now, why does this work? Well, the reason why this works is because you're using science to rehearse the new behavior or the new situation or the new thinking pattern and to encode it in your brain before you actually do it. And when you use your procedural memory to rehearse something that you want to have become a new habit or a new way of acting in your life, you're basically putting it in your long-term memory. Now, what is your procedural memory? Well, your procedural memory is the part of your brain that has stored all the motor skills, like writing, like picking up a glass and drinking, like walking. It is all stored in your procedural memory. The reason why you and I can walk without thinking about it, or talk, or skip, or brush our teeth is because we have rehearsed that sequence, that procedure, that series of events over and over and over again. And now it's locked into my brain, into my procedural memory. Now, here's what's really cool, everybody. Your brain doesn't know the difference between an event that you have closed your eyes and imagined and an event that you've actually done. And what's happening in your brain when I visualize myself making that mocktail step by step by step by step is I am making connections between the gaps at the end of the neurons in my body, the synapses, and every time I either imagine that sequence of events or I practice it, we're making that connection between neurons stronger and stronger and stronger. And so here's what's really cool. What I just told you is manifesting. Seriously. Manifesting done correctly is when you use your procedural memory as a tool to train your brain, your nervous system, your spirit to help you feel motivated and to help you do the work that actually changes your life. How cool is that? I want to be very clear about something. You know, manifesting gets a bad rap because of the law of attraction. But manifesting is not woo-woo at all. It's not a cheesy topic. Manifesting is not just think about something that you want and suddenly it'll magically appear. No. Manifesting is when you use your procedural memory and you visualize the step by step by step actions that you need to take in order to make your big goal or the thing that you want or the new habit to become a reality. You see, manifesting isn't the end, everybody. Manifesting is the bridge. It's the series of actions that you're going to take in order to have this new habit. And when you rehearse something and when you encode it in your procedural memory, what actually happens is because it's now something that your brain recognizes, the walking to the other cabinet, not where the gin is, the opening up the fridge and grabbing the kombucha instead of grabbing the gin in the cabinet. When you rehearse this over and over, you are lowering the limbic friction, the friction in your mind, the resistance that you feel. You are lowering that resistance. And that is how manifesting helps you achieve your goals.
I literally do live my life in the way of everything that we've been discussing. So I'm just going to tell you the truth.
Please.
As soon as I am aware that I'm awake, I snuggle my face against my silk pillowcase and I say, I love my silk pillowcase. And then I say, and I love my side sleeping pillow. And I love my wool mattress topper. And I've created a bit of a haven in my bedroom.
I love this. I'm right there with you. So what else do you love? Let's keep going.
I'm so grateful for my silk duvet. I'm grateful for my mattress. I'm grateful for my bedding. usually that's the minimum. I might do the temperature in the room or how quiet it is.
Do you say it out loud or do you just say it to yourself?
I say it in my mind.
Okay.
Then I just do some deep breathing, in kind of every direction of my chest, like it's a barrel, and just have a feel for if there's any areas of tension. Then to actually get out of bed, I start thinking about how much I'm going to savor my cup of tea. And then I go downstairs and I take my probiotic. And then because I have to wait 10 minutes then till I have my cup of tea, I do my oil pulling. And then I make my cup of English breakfast tea or matcha like a complete ritual and sit and really savor it and enjoy it. And then I pick up my phone and look at my messages.
How does this help you? And how does this help your brain?
So I think the thing about this gratitude practice that's to do with the tangible things that are around me is that it stops. What usually happens to people is that you start thinking, what do I have to do today? What time is it? What am I going to wear today? And because I don't keep my phone in my bedroom, I can't reach for that and start like getting bombarded by the outside world before I've had a chance to set myself up how I want to. There's a lot of scientific evidence for the benefits on your mental health and your longevity of gratitude. So basically, I'm not letting my brain kick in. I'm going straight to the gratitude, so I can't even think about anything else. And of course, then that makes me feel good already.
What are other key habits that you have as a neuroscientist throughout the day that continue to help your brain to thrive like this?
I'm going to be really honest with you and say I'd prefer to start by going to the end of the day because those are the real key anchors for me. And I just want to keep it really real and say that there are days where I don't do anything else consciously in the rest of the day. And I just live, just do my day. But I will come back to, there are some things, so I will come back to them. But I would say second in importance is the fact that I have my vision board next to my bed. So it's the last thing I look at night.
Let's talk about the vision board because you called it an action board.
Yeah.
Why does a vision board work?
I've been doing them for 15 years and I've manifested a lot of things through my vision board.
Like what? What have you manifested through a vision board?
I'm saying,
Dr. Tara.
So I started when I quit my job as a medical doctor and I started my coaching practice. So I literally had no money, no clients, got to the point where I wouldn't be able to pay my rent and my bills. So at that stage, I did include an actual amount of money that I needed to earn. And so for the first 3 years of running my business, I doubled that figure each year. And then after that, I just put symbols of abundance because I didn't need it to be a specific amount. I've manifested a lot of travel, but sometimes spooky. So I saw a picture of a tanned girl snorkeling. And I love snorkeling. So I put her on my vision board just to have a vacation that was that kind of vacation. Yes. And at this point I was single and I used to go on Christmas vacation or the holidays with my best friend who lived in Australia. And we would often choose where to go because I would see how many air miles I had and say, oh, I can get a flight to this place. So the year that we decided we would meet in Rio de Janeiro, was because that was the only flight that I could get with my points. And I suddenly had this inkling that I hadn't been aware of. And I went and looked at my vision board and in tiny writing under the snorkeling girl, it said Rio de Janeiro. I have so many more examples of things like that as well.
Well, what I also love about this is that you take it a step further and you don't say, what a cool accident. You say, I manifested that. And how does a vision board, which you call an action board, program your brain for thriving?
So it is a vision board in the sense that most people will know what a vision board is. But the difference is, like I said about kind of, quantum physics before I wrote it through cognitive science, did give an idea that you should create this vision either in your mind or on a board. Often it was quite fantastical compared to what the person's life was actually like. And I do believe it's got to be somewhat realistic. And then sit at home on the couch and wait for it to come true. wait for the check to come in the post, wait for, the dream partner to bang your door down. I just don't believe that that's possible. I believe that you have to be out there doing things to move yourself towards those goals, so that the board is simply a reminder to do the selective filtering, selective attention, and value tagging to your brain to keep those things at the front of your mind and not let life get in the way. Because it's so easy to, just get busy with kids and work and forget, not every day remember what are the things that you want. But if you're seeing the board every day, then it does just help to bring it back to the front of your mind. And also, some people can't do visualization. So especially for them, actually having the visual images like ready to look at allows you to get into that next step, which is visualize it being true. So close your eyes after looking at the board and immerse yourself in the feeling of those things actually being true. Like you're in Rio de Janeiro, where you're with your loving partner, you're doing really well at work. Like feel that through your 5 senses, and then give gratitude for that feeling of like, wow, with my eyes closed, I can feel that I'm holding my partner's hand and our feet are in the sand in Rio, and we could afford this vacation because we're both doing really well at work.
Because what you're really summoning is that magnetic energy that you talked about.
Yeah.
Like what's actually happening in your body and in your mind when you go through this process of creating a vision board and then visualizing it and allowing the wave of gratitude associated with that happening to fill your body. What happens in your brain?
So when you visualize something really strongly and you integrate your senses, your brain can hardly tell the difference between that being true and that being a created feeling by you. And because anything new is the biggest threat to the brain, uncertainty and novelty are the biggest threats to the brain, the more you visualize and embody the thing that you want, the more likely you are to take healthy risks to get it when it appears around you in the real world. So when you're feeling fear or shame or sadness, your blood is circulating a lot more of the stress hormone cortisol. When you're feeling love and trust and gratitude, you're circulating a lot more of the bonding hormone oxytocin. And those hormones are kind of on a seesaw. So if you're giving gratitude, then you're improving the release of oxytocin, and that's relatively reducing the stress hormone. So basically, love or gratitude, trust, those sorts of things can't coexist with fear and shame and sadness. So the more you push your brain into those emotions which correlate with that hormone, the less you're living in that state of fright, flight, and scarcity.
So simply visualizing and feeling that wave of emotion that comes from being grateful for the visualization of something that hasn't happened yet coming true changes the chemical balance in your body.
When you are immersed in that feeling, and think of a couple of the things that you'd like to happen right now and how good it would feel if they were true, you'll release dopamine, the reward chemical. So that has a really strong impact on your body. Then when you move it into, and now I'm giving gratitude for that, then you're also releasing oxytocin. So you've got this cocktail of like really feel-good hormones.
What is one mistake that people make when they are making a vision board?
I have now learned to leave a lot of space on my board because I don't believe that my brain is capable of knowing how much I could manifest in this world. So I love to leave a bit of room for magic. In the book where I do the chapter on actually how to make the board, I say, get the board, lay the images onto it, really ask yourself, do I want everything that's an image on there? And if there's something that you thought you wanted but it doesn't resonate, remove it. Have another flick through the magazines. And if there's an image that isn't something that you thought you wanted but it really speaks to you, try fitting that in. Leave it overnight. And I specifically said in a windproof, childproof, pet-proof place. And then come back the next day after having slept on it. And if you're sure that it's correct, then glue it into place. And then I start speaking to people who say to me, yeah, I've done all that, but I just haven't glued it yet. And so I said, did you do it yesterday? No, months ago. And I just can't bring myself to glue it down. I don't understand why. And I had having been an experienced coach now for 15 years, I just had the answer to that just came into my mind through my gut. And it was, you don't want to glue it down because you don't really believe that you deserve it. And the tears just came, and it was the truth. So it was, these are the things that I want, but if I glue them down, I'm saying that I actually think I should get them. And deep down, I don't believe that. And that's why I haven't glued them down. So you might be listening now and think, oh yeah, I've done that too, but I didn't really know why. So hopefully it will help.
What does the act of gluing signal to your brain in terms about what you want? And would you do that gratitude wash as you're doing it as a way to tap into magnetic energy? Because that's probably very thick old wiring. I actually said that to somebody recently where I was like, I don't even want to tell you that because I feel like I'm like scared to say I want that thing.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gluing it down, you really mean it, right? And so if there's hesitation, that could be hard. I have never thought of this before, but your idea is brilliant. If you do it whilst giving gratitude, it'll probably make it feel much easier. It's a bit more like, I'll just be so grateful if this comes true. And I'm happy to partially put it out there and partially make the effort to do it. When I had my first one, when I was really broke, I was living in a studio apartment and it was in the bathroom, which meant that anyone that came to my studio would see it. And it had a specific amount of money on it. And it's very un-British to talk about money. And it really,
How much money was on it?
£35,000. So really not very much. And so I thought, okay, this is a bit embarrassing. But then I thought, well, anyone that I actually invite into my, apartment who then uses my bathroom has got to be a close friend. So that just has to be okay. And I got so much positive feedback from people saying, oh yeah, I looked at your vision board and, I can help you with that thing that I saw. And it was so sweet.
I can hear everybody now moving their vision boards from their bedside table to the bathroom. Okay, we're going to put this right in the bathroom. What are some of the other habits that you have every day that keep you resilient, that keep your brain wired for thriving?
Okay, so I would say my next one, which is sort of like a ritual too, but also very good for your stress levels, is that I bathe in magnesium flakes.
Why is that good for stress?
Because when you're stressed, your body leaches itself of magnesium. So magnesium helps you deal with stress, but it also gets used up in stress. And the best way to take magnesium is through your skin rather than through a capsule or a tablet.
Oh, really?
And so I find the easiest way, with English weather is to bathe. There are also gels and sprays and lotions that you can use, but I like the ritual of bathing. So a little bit like when you're training for a marathon and you would eat more protein, when you're stressed, you need more magnesium. And the best way to check if you need more magnesium is if you ever get that twitchy eyelid.
Yes. I've had that.
Yeah. Or some people get tiny twitches in their fingers or their toes as well, but the eyelid is quite a good sign that you probably need to top up with magnesium.
Because it's a sign that you're stressed.
Well, the twitching is an actual sign of magnesium deficiency, but the reason you would be deficient is probably stress.
Wow. Nobody's ever told me that before.
Oh.
And it happens quite a lot.
Well, try the bath. You can do a foot bath if you don't like a bath.
Oh, I take a bath every night.
Okay, yeah.
I love a bath, but I've never done the magnesium flakes. I am doing it. So you take a bath with magnesium. What's something else that you do?
So by this time, it's getting close to the time that I would eat because I do time restricted eating. So I only eat between 12 noon and 8 p.m. So, I would obviously deal with any work admin or home admin that I have to, but then I would cook.
While we're on the topic of food, what are the 4 foods that you eat for better brain health?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is that I make all of my dietary choices based on brain health. And if you think about it, people choose what they might eat based on, it's delicious, or I'm trying to lose weight, or I'm trying to build muscle. But I feel quite strongly that if you make your choices based on brain health, then it's actually good for your skin, your hair, your gut, the rest of your body. So on that, I would say the dark-skinned foods I've already mentioned, hydrating foods, because you actually keep in more hydration from food than you do from drinking water. So, your leafy greens and your salads kind of thing. And maybe like fruits like melon. And then the good fats, this is probably the largest part of my dietary intake. So oily fish, eggs, avocado, nuts, seeds. And the fourth category is fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, and kombucha.
What I love is that at the very beginning of our conversation, you talked about the fact that our brain really was wired for survival and mating. And that you are teaching us strategies based on cognitive science, based on neuroscience, based on all of this research about how to program your mind for thriving, for longevity, for happiness. And every one of these examples, whether you're talking about the ways in which you can use this magnetic energy and these deliberate practices to wire your mind for thriving and attracting and spotting what you want, or whether you're now talking about the deliberate things you say to yourself, and the deliberate practices and actions that you are creating in the morning, you are showing us exactly what you're doing to make your brain function in a way that helps you thrive. I want to play another question that was submitted from a woman named Megan so that I can start to show you that you're not the only one whose self-doubt is the problem.
My name is Megan, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. Long story short, I've always wanted to move out of my hometown. And ever since I graduated college, I've tried to find an excuse to move. I'm in my third job in my career, love it. But I'm just like, I never pursued that moving out of my hometown. And there's always been this itch. And I'm 32, I'm single, I have no kids, and I'm like, my lease is about to end. So I'm like, is now the time? But all those fears just keep popping in, which are a lot of, limiting beliefs that I have. So my parents always kind of told me, you need money to move. If you don't have a bunch of money saved, then you shouldn't be going anywhere. They never moved out of Tampa. So they were like, your family's here. Why would you want to leave your family? And kind of like guilt tripped me a little bit. So I kind of shut down the conversation, and I basically just don't know what to do. And I feel stuck, but I feel like I need to do it, but I don't have a reason to other than I want to. So how do I get past feeling stuck and too afraid? And I feel like I'm just always looking for excuses of why I shouldn't. My biggest fear is just getting there and then being like, why did I do this? I'm alone. I have no family or friends here. Who knows when my family or friends are going to visit me, even if they will. Is this going to cost me a lot of money? And now I put myself in like a bad financial situation. What if I lose my job and I'm in a new city? What if I hate it? So Mel, how do I get started? What is the first step I should take? And what is the right way of going about doing this?
Oh my God. First of all, can we just agree? We love Megan. Don't you just love how honest she is? How she's just laying it all out there. And you know what else I love about her? She is every single one of us. Because once you lock on to something that you, quote, have an itch. And by the way, that's the only reason you need. If you want to do something, if you have a desire to do it, if you have that itch, that pull, that's your reason. You don't need any other justification other than you get to want things. You get to try things. And so I just love her because in sharing so much about how she's struggling internally, and you can hear that, can't you? You can hear how much she wants to do this. And yet, there is that conflict inside of her. And so I want to unpack this layer by layer for you, because here's the thing. It's very easy for me on the outside to put my hands on my hip and to look at Megan with a big smile and say, honey, you are not getting any older. Get your ass out of Tampa and move. What if it all works out? Stop worrying about it. And by the way, Tampa's waiting for you in case you hate it. So you can reverse the decision. But you got to start taking some risks. Like I could tell her this all day long,
But what really moves the needle in your life is when you can coach yourself, when you can shut down the conversation inside your own mind. Because the only thing that is holding Megan back from pursuing something she's been thinking about for years is the conversation she's having with herself. And so how do you shut down the conversation? The answer, believe it or not, is manifesting. Wait, what? Mel? Hold on a second. Mel Robbins, did you just say all I have to do is manifest? If I think about moving, magically it'll happen? No, that's not what I said. You see, you don't understand what manifesting is. Nobody does. I didn't for decades. Manifesting is not just imagining something or wishing or wanting something to happen. That's what Megan's been doing. She's been thinking about it. She's been wishing it would happen. She's been wanting it to happen. Has that made her move? No. That's not manifesting, everybody. Manifesting is intentionally training your brain and your nervous system to believe in something that hasn't happened yet. That's what manifesting is. Manifesting is a power tool. It's backed by neuroscience. It is backed by years of research. And when used properly, it helps you achieve your goals because it helps you prepare to do the work. I use science-backed manifesting tools every single day to shut down the negative conversations in my life and to live a big life and to take big risks. And dude, Olympic athletes use manifesting. And we're going to get into how Olympic athletes and the world's leading, business leaders and successful people everywhere use it. But I'm telling you right now, the way you shut down your internal conversation that is holding you back is manifesting. And I'm not only going to give you the definition of what manifesting is and what it isn't, but I'm going to walk you through 4 steps backed by neuroscience on how you're going to use manifesting properly as a brain reprogramming tool. That's what we're going to do here today. And I'm also, as I walk you through these steps, you're going to learn the 4 mistakes that absolutely everybody makes when it comes to the how and when it comes to trying to manifest. Jessica, I'm sure, is making this mistake. Megan makes this mistake. I've been making this mistake for years until I understood the science. And so, as I do this, I want to turn the spotlight on you for a second because I'm going to continue talking about Megan. And I'm going to learn a lot about manifesting and how to use science to rewire your mind. But what is something that you feel the itch to do, that you've been thinking about, that you're the one shutting down? Here's a way that you could really get honest with yourself. Let's just say that Mel Robbins was going to take a sabbatical from hosting the Mel Robbins podcast. And let's say I was going to move into your house. And you and I were going to be surgically joined at the hip for a year. And you were going to have to deal with me being by your side and in your ear day by day. I'd be there as you woke up. I'd be there as you go to sleep. I can sense that itch because I'm connected to your hip. What is it knowing that I would be in your life, annoying as hell, pushing you through your fears? What would you take on that you're not taking on right now? What dream would you pursue? If I'm your big O-line, your offensive lineman in football, I'm the one that's going to block and tackle for you. I'm the one that's going to clear the path. I'll handle your frickin' parents. I'm going to find the apartment. I'll push you out of your comfort zone. We got this because I'm going to be by your side. What is that thing, that itch, that dream? Because I want you to be selfish as you listen to this. And so hold on to that as I describe how manifesting is one of the first things you have to learn how to do to get started on making this a reality. So what is manifesting? Manifesting is mentally training for getting what you want. That's all that it is. It is part of the toolkit that successful people around the world use. Let me tell you what manifesting is not. Manifesting is not thinking thoughts and then hoping they come true. That is what people do on their 7th birthday. And they blow out the candles. That is not what we are doing here. Manifesting is based in neuroscience. It is a tool that you are going to use precisely, intentionally, systematically, with purpose. Because you use manifesting to rewire your mind and your body and your spirit to help you do the work to achieve your dreams. When you use manifesting properly, you are removing the mental obstacles of self-doubt, resistance, fear, perfectionism, feeling overwhelmed, other people's expectations, all that stuff that is holding you in place right now, that makes you spin in circles. Manifesting clears that shit out, and it programs, using science, a completely different way of thinking and feeling about the things that you want to create in your life. And when you manifest properly, it's almost like the pregame training that you do before the big game. It prepares you to take action. It boosts your confidence. It gets you ready to do that thing. So you and I are going to walk step by step through how to do this, but I just want you, for this moment, I want you to embrace the definition that this is not wishing. This is not the law of attraction. This is based in science and neuroscience. This is about reprogramming your mind instead of letting your fears run your life. Are visualization and manifestation the same things?
Yes.
Okay. So how does the science of manifestation help you achieve goals or help you get material things, if that's something that you would like to have in your life?
Well, let me give you an example. I mean, when I was 12, I had a list of all material things, and I got every one of them.
What was on the list?
I become a neurosurgeon, a professor at Stanford. I have all this material success. I'm a successful entrepreneur. I have millions and millions of dollars. I have a home overlooking the bay in Newport Beach. I have a villa in Florence. I have an
We're all
island.
starting to hate you right now.
Yes,
but go
yes.
ahead.
And I was single at the time, and I was dating all these attractive women, and all my friends said, "God, your life is so great, man. Look at you." Yet I was never more miserable in my entire life, because I kept expecting, okay, I'm going to climb this mountain, and then I'm going to feel good about myself. Then I'm going to climb the next mountain. I'm going to feel good about myself. And I never felt good about myself. None of that stuff made me feel good about myself. And in fact, I lost $80 million during the dot-com crash. And as a result, of course, that gets your attention, because I was $3 million in debt and I had a $15 million loan. And as a result, I went through a period of deep self-reflection, because I wanted to understand what mistake had I made in this process, because I'd done everything, I thought. And it was because I was focused on, look at me, I did this, make me feel good about myself. And that's what I was chasing. And it didn't help me. And so here I am having to deal with this massive loss. I'm selling all of this. I had a Ferrari, a Porsche, a Range Rover, BMW, a Mercedes. I had a several $1 million house overlooking the bay. I had to sell all of this stuff. And it was interesting, during that situation, I had to deal with my banker, of course, who wanted his money. And I had to deal with my lawyers, because I had set up a variety of different trusts. But I had set up a charitable trust and had put stock into it. And honestly, it was probably a tax avoidance thing. It wasn't because Jim Doty was super nice, right? So I was dealing with my lawyer, and he said, "Look, Jim, I have some good news for you. We actually never completed the paperwork for that trust, so you don't have to give any of that stock away. You can just keep it." And I went through this period of deep reflection about this. And at the end of the day, I told him to go ahead and give the stock away.
Was it Google?
No, but it was $30 million. But what that $30 million did was it changed everything. I set up health clinics around the world. I set up programs for adolescents who are affected by AIDS, HIV. I set up programs for the disabled. I funded research. I set up endowed chairs. And in some ways, though, it was an interesting trajectory, because I went truly from rags to riches, literally, to rags again in terms of the spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I was doing was not soothing my soul. And so when I gave everything away, being in the face of $3 million in the hole, that is when everything changed. This is where I started the center at Stanford that studies compassion. I met His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. I developed these relationships with all of these spiritual and religious leaders, which has been incredibly, incredibly impactful in my life. And so it's a different rags to riches, right?
There are so many aspects of that story I want to unpack because I've been in many moments of my life where I had nothing and was on the verge of losing everything that I cared about. But if I had heard somebody talking about Porsches and this and that and the other thing, and then you lose it all, and then you have a spiritual waking, I would still, as I'm listening, go, that's nice for you. But I am having trouble putting groceries on the table, and I still would love a Porsche. And I know, because I know some of your background, how important it is for you to awaken something inside of people about the deeper meaning of life and the way to use manifestation and visualization and the science of all this in a way to truly unlock your potential. And how would you have somebody who's listening who is really struggling and never has achieved that moment of riches that is surface level truly grasp the power of what is available to them to use these tools of separating from your past story and identifying what you want to believe about yourself, and then writing it and believing it and repeating it and trying to open up your heart and live in this heart mode? What is available to you if we lean in and trust you, even when you're really struggling and it seems like money is the solution?
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't want to give anybody the impression that, look, my worst day, I was a neurosurgeon making more than 99.9% of people. So even though I lost all this money and was in the hole, I certainly had the ability to recover. And most people don't have that. So I certainly want to acknowledge that. And I'm not saying that my story is everyone's story. Listen, I started from very, very humble beginnings. But the fundamental aspect of the story is it doesn't matter where you're at. It matters what you believe. And when you have this negative self-talk and you create these limited belief systems, that is the prison you're creating for yourself. And the first step, though, is to understand that, yes, circumstances can be very horrible. Yes, circumstances can result in you not even being able to feed your family. And I truly acknowledge that because I know what it's like to be hungry. But regardless, you have possibilities. When you're able to interrupt that negative belief system, when you're able to look through the lens of possibilities, because when you are negative, when you say it's not possible, the world is against me, everybody hates me, fundamentally, you're changing your physiology. And as you probably know, we have oscillation or vibrations that come from our bodies. And one of the greatest ones is from your heart. If you have this negative self-talk, if you create this negativity, that goes out. I mean, the bioelectrical energy that comes from your heart extends 3 to 5 feet outside your body. And I'm sure you've experienced, you were mentioning something earlier, gosh, when you walked in, you made me feel good. That is a gift all of us have to give people. And I'm sure you've met people who, as soon as you meet them, go, I do not like that person. All of us have the ability to become the former, not the latter. It's how you look at the world. And when you change how you look at the world from that one of negativity, because, your situation is difficult, to look at, there are amazing possibilities here. Because what I tell people, when I changed how I looked at the world changed how it looked at me, because people reached out to me because I was open to it. I was appreciative. I was thankful. I didn't sit there and say, the world hates me, nobody's going to do anything. That energy changes when you change how you look at the world.
And the energy you're talking about is the ability to move yourself from a fear mode
Absolutely.
into a heart mode. And there's also a lot of research and science that you write about, and how being in that heart mode, where you're coming from a place of service, where you are actively manifesting and visualizing positive beliefs about yourself. I am good. I am worthy. I am loved. What are the things that you say that help you drop into heart mode?
And this may sound strange, but fundamentally, the world we create is one we create. It is a delusion that we have created for ourselves. And that delusion can either be one of, the world hates me, everybody hates me, the world is against me, versus saying, wow, look at the sunshine, I am here, look at all these amazing people around me, look at the possibilities. And I'm not saying this out of some trope that is not true. It is true when you change how you look at yourself. Now, if you want to manifest, there's several techniques. And
can you walk us through a couple?
Sure. One of the first things you have to do, though, is find a place, a calm place, where you can shift from being in the fear mode to the heart mode, where you're not distracted, where it's not noisy, where you're not taking caffeinated beverages or using mind-altering substances, where you can simply be present. And then you can begin a breathing exercise. The very nature of that breathing exercise, and this is a mindfulness practice, get you into the heart mode. And then you start seeing the world through a different lens. And then you start, as an example, talking about, what have I already manifested? And you sit there with that. And you love yourself in the sense of saying, yes, that happened. But number one, and this is oftentimes the case with children, they look at, say, it's my fault. It's not your fault. You're okay. And you're also okay no matter what's happened in the past. All of us deserve a second chance and sometimes a third chance. Most people are loving, kind people inside. And they have been battered by the forces oftentimes that make them think that's not the case, or that they don't deserve love. Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves dignity. And so when you can sit in that quiet space and reflect on this, and then think about what it is you truly want, what would make you happy. Most people, if they actually sit there and do it, they realize the false narrative of getting the Porsche or the Ferrari. If they sit there and think about it, what do they really want? They want security for their family. They want food on the table. They want shelter. And if you look through that lens, that is, what am I doing to be of service to help my family and my environment, which will ultimately help me? And so going through those exercises, understanding the power that you have. And also, there's another aspect which is related to attachment. One of the biggest things that causes suffering is attachment and craving. And it's wonderful to have goals. It's wonderful to utilize these techniques to manifest, but there's certain caveats to that. One is sometimes things don't manifest. And it's not necessarily because you did anything wrong or the gods are looking down at you badly. Sometimes your subconscious may even know that it's not good for you, and it doesn't allow that to happen. The other is that things don't happen always exactly as we visualize. They may approximate it, but oftentimes they're not exactly. And I have things I've been trying to manifest for 10 or 15 years, and I firmly believe they will manifest, but you have to be patient. You have to do the work. You have to do the exercises. And all of that is okay because I'm not attached to the outcome. And that is a critical thing. Yes, do I want it to happen? Absolutely. Should it happen? Absolutely. Will it happen? Maybe, maybe not.
And it's more likely that it will?
Yes.
because you are training your mind using these techniques and putting yourself in a heart mode to make it happen. You wrote in your book, your brain can't tell the difference between what is real and vividly imagined. By focusing on the feeling of success, you train your brain to expect it.
Absolutely. And when you activate your subconscious, and I'm sure you probably experienced this, if you're at a party and it's very noisy, somebody says your name, you immediately turn. Even in the din of all this noise, you are attuned to your name because it's deeply embedded in you. The same is true, and this is the nature of synchronicities and coincidences, because your subconscious is always searching for what is salient.
So, what are the 4 steps to manifesting properly? Number 1, we've already done that. You got to give yourself permission to dream with the lid off. And for many of you, this is going to be the hardest part. Seriously, you have held yourself back for so long, you don't even allow yourself to dream. And here's the thing, you're allowed to want things. You're allowed to want more for your life. In fact, you're wired this way. And part of what you need to do is you got to give yourself permission to want things again. You know, I guarantee you that when some of you wrote down what you wanted, you shrunk it. You literally said, okay, I'm going to write down this little thing, but I'm going to make it really, really small because I'm worried that it's not going to happen. And so one of the things that I want you to do is I want you right now, dream with the lid off. If the manifesting that I'm teaching you removes the doubt, removes the fear, if it lowers the friction and the resistance that you feel to doing the work to get what you want, what is it that you dream of doing for real? Like I almost, with you guys, I almost said, I'm going to launch one of the top podcasts in the world. I almost shrunk it down, everybody. But then I pushed through because I've been manifesting this. No, I'm launching the #1 female hosted podcast in the world, period. So what is it that you are interested in having? Like, don't shrink it down. Write down what you want, because this is step #1. And the reason why this is so important is because, you know, you have a filter in your brain. You have a filter in your brain called the reticular activity system. And this filter works just like the Discover page on Instagram. So if you're ever on Instagram, and TikTok is the same way, there's the page where you can discover new accounts. And if you've ever noticed what Instagram shows you on that mosaic and what TikTok shows you when you're kind of looking for new things are accounts that are just like the accounts that you follow. And that changes in real time all the time. So right now, my Discover page has a lot of accounts with nails because I've been growing my nails out. It has a lot of home design accounts because my husband and I are building our dream home here in the United States in southern Vermont. It has a lot of motivational accounts. And so it is reflecting back what I'm already looking at. One of the reasons why it's important for you to allow yourself and give yourself permission to want the things that you want without limiting it is because when you limit it, the filter in your brain pays attention and it limits what you see. When you start to give yourself permission to dream with the lid off, to just let your desires flow through you, then check this out. The filter in your brain changes in real time, just like the Discover page in Instagram, and it'll start showing you more of what you want. It's freaking cool. Now, you can practice what I'm saying 2 ways. #1, there's a game that you can play that I call Find a Heart. Every single day, wake up and play this game where you're going to try to find a heart that is naturally occurring in the world around you. It could be a leaf, it could be a cloud, it could be a stain in your coffee. Tell your brain, show me a heart. And then look for hearts all day. And you'll be shocked because all of a sudden, you'll be walking past a building that you walk past every single day, and there, right on the side of the building, The coloration on the brick of the building, it is as plain as day. There is a freaking heart right there on the side of the building. You've missed it. You've walked past this building 1,000 times. It's been there the whole time. Why am I seeing it now? I'll tell you why. That discover page in your brain, the filter in your brain, you told it you wanted to see hearts. Just like I've started looking at nails. And now suddenly the filter is showing you what's important to you. That's how your brain works. So one way you can start to do this is look for hearts. The second thing that you can do is you can start your day every morning in your journaling practice by writing down 5 things that you want. That's it. 5 things that you want. What do you want? You want a purse? You want a new job? You want a loving relationship? You want to feel happy again? You want to have more fun in your life? You want to finally be able to do a handstand? You want to be a best-selling, whatever you want. It can be the same thing every single day, or it could be new things every day. Because what you're doing when you give yourself permission to dream and to let those desires flow through you again is now what we're doing is we are letting you start to lead with your dreams. Literally, you can lower the resistance by inverting this and letting the dreams flow through you. Every day, look for a heart, write down 5 things that you want, and you are well on your way to step 1 of learning how to manifest properly. And that is, let the desire lead. Let the dreams flow through you, and that way your mind will start paying attention. The second step I've already given you an example of when I talked about visualizing making a mocktail step by step by step by step, all the way down to peeling the lime and twisting it and that little juice going off of it. That type of step by step by step encoding in your procedural memory is step number 2. The thing that most of us get wrong about manifesting is that we have this big dream, like publishing a book or launching a podcast, and all you dream about is the end. That's it. You miss the bridge between where you are and the thing that you want. And so let's use another metaphor, everybody, okay? Let's use the metaphor of running a marathon. So a marathon is 26.2 miles. How many of you have on your bucket list? Someday it would be amazing to run and complete a marathon. That would be something pretty cool to do before I die. Now you may have a million excuses for why it's not going to happen, but just allow the dream to flow through you. Have you ever wanted to summit a mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro? Have you ever wanted to run a marathon, something like a 5K, doesn't matter. We're going to use this as a teaching tool. So let's say that your goal is to run a marathon, 26.2 miles, okay? The mistake that everybody makes is they literally visualize crossing the finish line. That's not how manifesting works. Manifesting, remember, is the bridge that's going to get you to the finish line. Manifesting is preparing you. It's like a training run. So what do you manifest? What do you visualize when you want to complete a marathon? You got to visualize the pain in the rear end stuff. You got to visualize running in the rain. Visualize your alarm going off at 5:30 in the morning. It's dark. It's cold. You don't want to get out of bed, but you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed. And then you visualize yourself pulling on your tights and the dog is looking at you. And you visualize walking through a quiet apartment or house. And then you visualize opening up the front door and, it's raining. And you visualize that you don't want to go outside and maybe you'll skip the run, but then you visualize grabbing your raincoat and going out that door. And then you know what you visualize? You visualize yourself at mile 7 on a training run and your earbuds, the batteries die. And you just want to give up. But guess what? You keep running. That's the kind of stuff that you visualize. You visualize the hard, the annoying, the stuff you don't want to do. If you want to make more money, you better visualize staying in on the weekends and working on your business instead of blowing your cash at the bar. If you want to have a different relationship with your spouse, you should visualize going to counseling or listening to books about how to improve your relationship and working on yourself. Seriously, you gotta visualize the hard stuff, okay? That's step 2. The step by step by step by step by step, the path, the bricks along the way. Now, step 3 of visualizing correctly. Feel what you are visualizing. That procedural memory, step by step by step by step. Feel it in your body. What does it feel like to do this? You know, what's interesting is research from UCLA says that, visualization works because we are activating the part of the brain that you use when you're actually doing those actions. So you are rehearsing it before you even do it. And according to research from UCLA, this is why manifesting is so powerful. Okay, everybody? So again, step number 1, you got to give yourself permission to dream. And you're going to start training your spirit to lead. And you're going to start training the filter in your brain, the RAS, to help you get what you want. And you're going to do that by A, looking for hearts every single day, play a little game. And B, you're going to start your day by writing down 5 things that you want, just as an exercise to learn how to let your desires flow through you. Step number 2 of manifesting the correct way is you visualize the bridge, brick by brick by brick by brick, visualizing the steps that you're going to take along the way. This is how you encode the behavior into your procedural memory and thereby reduce the friction and resistance that you feel to taking those steps. Step number 3, you got to feel it in your body. Feel it in your body. This taps into your nervous system, everybody. So as you're taking these actions that are really difficult, you want to take the actions. And, and I see this question, but why visualize the heavy stuff? I'll tell you why. Because the hard stuff is what you're avoiding. The hard stuff is where your doubt comes in. The really difficult things is where you come up with excuses and reasons not to do it. And so we're going to lower your resistance, your excuses, your fear, your anxiety, which raises your courage, your confidence, and your brain's ability to help you get moving. Because you're not going to change your life by simply thinking about what you want. You change your life by changing the actions that you take. And right now, the difficult, the hard, the heavy, the irritating, the annoying, you got a bazillion reasons for why you're not doing that stuff. And so we're going to use manifesting to lower your resistance internally to doing the hard, the heavy, the awful stuff. So when you feel yourself walking out that door at 5:45 in the morning with your rain jacket on and going for that run when you didn't feel like it, I also want you to feel proud of yourself for doing it, okay? That's what you do. When you visualize yourself staying in and working on your business plan, instead of spending money that you need to save or invest in your business, feel proud of yourself as you are rehearsing that in your mind. That's a really important step in this. And this is, your brain is visualizing you taking action, but now your body also is tapping into the pride that you feel when you do something that's really hard. Now, the 4th step of manifesting, do the work. All that stuff that you're visualizing, you got to use my 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself to take the actions. It's not sexy like The Secret of just thinking about this stuff and expecting it to come to you. You got to do the little things brick by brick by brick and take the actions that lay the groundwork for this change. And, here's the thing that's super cool about it. When you do this and you start practicing this skill and you use manifesting as a tool, you are training your mind, your body, and your spirit to align with what you want. instead of resisting it and being afraid of it. And when you align your mind, body, and spirit with what you want, you will be naturally inspired and motivated and empowered to take the actions to walk toward it. That's why this works. If you ever find yourself feeling stuck when you're manifesting, feeling like you can't visualize the steps that lead you to what you want is an extraordinarily common obstacle when you're manifesting. Because remember, manifesting is the practice of preparing your mind, body, and spirit to do the work to achieve the things that you want. And as you probably know, manifesting has 4 different parts to it. First of all, you got to give yourself permission to really have what you want. Okay? Because you got to have the thing that you're visualizing be something that is authentically something that you want. Number 2, you must see yourself taking the steps, the tiny actions, and doing the work that will lead you to creating or having what you want. Third, you got to feel in your body what it feels like to do the work. And you also have to feel pride as you see yourself doing the work, because that amplifies your mind, body, and spirit really imprinting and training and preparing for it. And fourth, obviously, you got to take the actions. And all of that manifesting and preparing inspires you to take the actions. But one place where so many folks get stuck when they start trying to make manifesting a daily habit is you go and you know what you want, but then you sit down and you try to imagine what the steps are that you need to take to get there, and you don't have a clue. Your mind goes blank. If this is you, I'm so excited that you're watching this, because the simple trick based in science is called the power of objectivity. All you got to do is stop visualizing yourself and insert your friend Mel Robbins, or insert somebody else that you love and admire. And the power of objectivity is going to immediately switch you from a blocked mind to one that is bolder and more creative and able to visualize the steps. Now, I'm not just making this up. There's extraordinary research that was just written about in the Harvard Business School Review. They did 8 different studies at the University of Wisconsin where they were studying the power of objectivity. And with thousands of participants, here's what they found. When participants tried to visualize themselves doing hard things, immediately, the participants, when they thought about themselves doing something hard, like let's just say asking for a raise, okay? I want you to imagine yourself asking for a raise or applying for that dream job. When you visualize yourself doing it, you immediately focus in on minutia. You start imagining all kinds of things that could go wrong. You start arguing against yourself, and doubt comes flooding in. You have a very cautious mindset when you place yourself in those scenarios. However, if you were to visualize me, Mel Robbins, asking for that raise, immediately your mindset switches to being very bold, being creative, seeing all kinds of opportunities. And in fact, when you not only visualize me, your friend Mel Robbins, asking for that raise that you want, when you give me advice, you're super enthusiastic. You're like, Mel, you should go for it. And I bet in your life, you have probably told friends or loved ones, you should ask for more money. And you mean it because you're visualizing them. But you yourself won't visualize yourself doing that. You talk yourself out of it. We've all had this experience. You yourself are probably sitting there going, you're right, Mel. I constantly tell my friends, you deserve more. You should break up with that jerk. You should go for it. But when it comes to yourself, you see the excuses and doubt. So I want you to leverage not only this common sense, but this research to your advantage when it comes to manifesting. Pick what you want, and then if your mind goes blank when it comes to seeing yourself do the work, literally just insert your friend Mel Robbins or insert anybody that you love. In fact, I got a story about this. Years and years ago, this would have been, 20 years ago. At the time, I was a life coach, and I had a really small little practice here in Boston. And I went to a seminar that Oprah Winfrey had here at the Boston Convention Center. It was part of her Live Your Best Life tour. And And I went to the seminar because I thought, well, this would be a great place to land life coaching clients, right? You got thousands of women at the convention center who all want to improve your life. So I can go and I can network, and who knows, I might meet some amazing women and meet some amazing business partners and land some clients. So I'm sitting in the audience, and the DJ starts playing the music and everybody gets out of their chairs and we all start dancing around with our name tags on. And then all of a sudden the DJ dies down the music and we all settle down and this woman walks onto stage. Now, I didn't recognize this woman. I didn't have my program in my hand, so I had no idea who it was. I had never seen her before. I had never heard her before. When they announced her name, not a clue. All I knew was when she started talking, something inside me was like, zzz, energetically, something shifted. I bet you've had those moments where you're like, boom, you know that something is meant for you. You just feel pulled toward it. Like you can have this experience with a piece of clothing, with a house, with a puppy, with a person, with an experience, with a place. Well, this woman walks on stage and I had this energetic shift that was like, and I immediately felt my body go, you need to be doing that. But what I saw was she's on a stage. She's clearly an author. She's making people laugh. She's inspiring. Oh my gosh, she's a life coach? Well, this person I'm talking about is none other than Martha Beck. I didn't know her at the time, but she's an international best-selling author. She writes for O Magazine. She was clearly speaking on a stage. And guess what? She was Oprah's designated life coach. And so I have this energetic shift where I'm like, I want to be doing that. I want to go from just coaching individual clients to having an impact on a much bigger scale. Now, keep in mind, at the time, I have only been coaching people for 2 or 3 years. I've never given a speech. I had never written an article in a magazine. I didn't have a book. I didn't know how to do any of those things. But I went home from that seminar and I sat down and I cracked open my journal and I'm like, I want to speak on stages. I want to write things for magazines. I want to write a book. I want to impact millions of people. I want to do what Martha Beck is doing. I didn't know how to do any of it. And so I developed this simple tool. Now, little did I know, I was just instinctively leveraging the power of objectivity. Since I didn't know what to do, and I also didn't know who to ask, because 20 years ago, I didn't know a single person that had published a book. I didn't know anybody that wrote for magazines. I didn't know anybody that spoke on stages for a living, and I certainly didn't know anybody that knew Oprah. So I didn't even have anybody that I could ask. There weren't as many articles online, so it's not like I could blog. YouTube was not really a thing, so it's not like I could watch videos. I mean, do you know how lucky you are to be able to research all this stuff? I was just me, Mel Robbins, with a handful of clients here in Boston, now inspired to do what Martha Beck's doing, with no clue how to go from here to there. I didn't know the steps. So I came up with this little tool. It's so funny when I think about it now. Do you want to know what the tool was? What would Martha Beck do? I said, well, what would Martha Beck do? Because I figured Mel Robbins had never done any of those things, but Martha Beck had. So in any moment where I didn't know what I should do, I just figured I would ask myself, well, what would Martha Beck do? And I kind of thought that maybe if I acted like she acted, maybe I would eventually start to steer my life in the direction that her life was headed in terms of writing books and standing on stages 20 years ago. So I was leveraging the power of objectivity. So this is what happened. A couple weeks go by and nothing miraculous happens in my life. And I get an email and I'm up late and I'm working on something and this email comes in. And the email is from a friend of mine who works in New York. Hadn't seen her in a while, but she knew that I was a life coach. And I noticed that she was forwarding a PR request from Inc. magazine. And Kate wrote to me, hey, Mel, not sure if you're still life coaching, but see below. Someone is writing an article about life coaching for Inc. magazine. Thought you may be interested in applying. So I scroll down and I immediately start to read the email. Now, there were a couple things that jumped out immediately, right? Number one, the PR request was over a month old. Number two, the deadline had already passed for submissions to be featured in the article. Number three, I had none of the credentials that they were looking for life coaches. Number 4, I had none of the types of clients that they were looking for. Now, thinking about it from Mel Robbins' point of view, my mind got very cautious and I started to focus on all the minutia. I'm too late. I'm not qualified. I've missed the deadline. They're never going to pick me. Self-doubt started to creep in. Just like it's happening for you when you manifest right now. Your mind is going blank. You're full of doubt, which is why you can't see the steps. I, in that moment, asked myself, well, I know what Mel Robbins would do. Mel Robbins would hit delete and go on with her evening. But what would Martha Beck do? The second I leveraged the power of objectivity and I imagined her in the situation that I was in, my mind got more creative, it got bolder, it got more energized, I saw possibility. I literally said to myself, well, what have I got to lose? Martha Beck would probably just respond. And so I did. I just freeformed the thing and wrote this long email, and then hit send. Do you know the very next morning, the person that had sent the inquiry out wrote me back and said, I've already finished the article. I was about to submit it, but I was so taken with your email that I'd love to come up to Boston and follow you around for a day and include you in the article. And it was that article, which published about 5 months later, that caught the attention of a bunch of people in the media business in New York. And that's what caused this major pivot that happened in my career. Honest to God, it was the power of objectivity and simply asking myself, what would Martha Beck do? So, super common to feel super stuck when you know what you want, but you can't visualize yourself taking those steps because you're thinking cautious. Your self-doubt is consuming you. You are insecure in your ability to actually do those things, so you can't even embrace the visualization of yourself doing it. Simple. Insert someone else. And you can always pick your friend Mel Robbins. Let's just say that you are really inspired to get into home renovations and buying and flipping houses. And let's just say you've always dreamt of doing this and you watch the home improvement networks like it's your job and you just love everything about real estate and flipping houses, but you've never done it. And so when you go to visualize it, you don't even know where to start. Just insert Mel Robbins. What would Mel Robbins do? I guarantee you the second you visualize me in there, you're going to be like, oh, well, Mel Robbins would start studying it. Mel Robbins would take a course on it. Mel Robbins would ask people about it. Mel Robbins would start going to open houses. Mel Robbins would take a class about it. Mel Robbins would talk to people who are doing it. You will immediately be able to see all of the things that I would do because your mind, when you leverage the power of objectivity, gets bold, gets creative, gets enthusiastic. Now what you're going to do is you see me doing the work, right? You're now going to insert yourself next to me. And you're going to see me going, oh, hey, I'm so glad you're here because I could use your help. I want you to take this class with me. And you know what we're going to do this weekend? You and I are going to go to open houses. And you know what we're going to do next weekend? You and I are going to sit down and watch YouTube tutorials on how you get started in this business. And you know what we're going to do the following weekend? You and I are going to read blogs about how you can get financing for doing this. And you know how we're going to do this weekend? And I will walk you step by step in your visualization in doing it. And you visualizing yourself next to me will jumpstart your mind into being bolder, more enthusiastic, more creative. And that, my friend, is the simple trick that you can use in order to leverage the power of objectivity to get unstuck and unblocked when you start manifesting and get yourself moving toward your dreams. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you. So make sure you subscribe. Mwah.